Hey friends, welcome to my channel. AC here. Thank you for clicking on the link. And today we're going to talk about an absolute masterpiece, timeless masterpiece called Habit Rouge by Guerlain, EDT version released in 1965. The perfumer Jean-Paul Guerlain. Now, before we get into the review, let me allay the first fear. This does not smell dated. It is reformulated. The one I'm reviewing is the reformulated version, and it is as modern as any perfume that is available in our times. So let's start with the fragrance first. Let's look at the box and the presentation. So friends, here is a quick look at the presentation. Um, it's a red cardboard box with sort of silver, kind of brass, sort of engraved writing on the box. It's a EDT, as I said, 100 ml, made in France, that sort of thing. The bottle, again, very classic look. This is a plastic cap. The atomizer is beautiful in this one. This is a strong juice, so it doesn't give out a huge burst of juice, but it's quite substantial. To the actual spray and the actual fragrance, let me tell you a little story about this particular fragrance. This particular fragrance is to Guerlain, men's fragrances, what Shalimar is to women's fragrances. In fact, they share some of the notes. Two iconic Guerlain fragrances, women's fragrances, are Shalimar and Mitsuoko. The elements of Mitsuoko and Shalimar have been borrowed for this fragrance. That's number one fact. Number two fact, Jean-Paul Guerlain was a very avid equestrian lover, and he created this fragrance inspired by a hunter's leather jacket. Now, hunting etiquettes require you to wear a jacket and uniform or dress with tone-on-tone buttons till the hunt master grants you with a red button. Once you are granted with that button, you are permitted to wear a leather jacket, a red leather jacket with brass buttons. That's why the bottle, or the box rather, looks like the red leather jacket of a hunter. That's the inspiration behind this fragrance. Now, this guy, Jean-Paul Guerlain, was a master, and he was much loved in his time. And he was famous for creating fragrances that had a tremendous amount of notes in it. It's a very complex fragrance, right? And we'll get to that in a minute. But before we get to that, there are two cautions, I would say. Yeah? One, people or my friends who are used to mainstream metrosexual modern fragrances, first impressions might tell them that this is not for them. This is dated, this smells chemically, this smells this, that, and the other. Be patient with that, because your first urge could be that. Yeah? And also, avoid testing it on paper. Test it on your skin. The second caution that I'd like to say is that, when you're trying to wear something which is inspired by a formal occasion, don't waste that fragrance on informal occasions. This is a formal fragrance. It goes best with a suit. It also goes best on people who actually have some natural gravitas. That could be a 20-year-old, it could be a 50-year-old, but you have to have some presence. This fragrance really complements that sort of a personality. It is not a fragrance that can be worn by everybody. I'm not saying that it's exclusive. You can try it, but that's what my observation is. So moving on. Uh, there's another important point, guys. This is not a major compliment garment. Yeah. So one of the worst reactions I've had from this fragrance is when I was seeking an opinion about what a very good friend of mine thought about this fragrance, and she said to me that I wouldn't buy this fragrance even if it was available for £1, and it smelled like a floor cleaner. So there you go. That seals the deal. So this fragrance is not for people who are looking for compliments, people who think that this fragrance will get them loads of compliments. It's a work of art. Um, you need a special type of a taste to appreciate it. So I wanted to be clear on that front. So let's start with the spray. I, as usual, have a dry down on my right hand, which is about 4.5 hours, 5 hours. So let's start with the spray, and here goes the spray. Sorry, I missed the first one. That's why I went for the second. I can smell it. So, what do you get at the top? Two things straight away that you will smell. One is a huge blast of orange, or lemon rather. And the reason it smells like orange is the three citrus notes on the top: bergamot, lime or lemon, and pimento. Those three combine together to create a very green, citrus, zesty, punchy, high voltage citrus blast, And the other one is sometimes you get a rose. I dislike rose. I don't like rose. In fact, I have very few fragrances in my collection which have rose. Rose here, I have no problems with because it stays in the background. And the other thing you smell is the sandalwood, which is the sandalwood you will smell in Guerlain's Shalimar. That's why I said it borrows from that fragrance. Wow, it's just high voltage citrus, sandalwood, and rose. Boom, it comes at you. In about 15-20 minutes, you will get the heart of the fragrance. The heart of the fragrance has got prominent note of cinnamon. So it gets so pleasant and dry down. We'll come to the dry down in a minute. The heart has got cinnamon and it has got sandalwood. And in fact, the sandalwood is quite evident the moment you spray it. So the cinnamon, the spiciness, and basil. There is also a hint of clove. This is such a masterful fragrance. Why? Because this fragrance could have easily gone towards a sort of a woody oriental, but they have tried to sort of keep it a fougere with a bent towards woody oriental. Yeah. So the middle is where the spices come out and balance out that citrus blast that you get in the opening with some woods. The two woods that are evident in the middle are sandalwood and cedarwood. Yeah? At the dry down, which you will get in about 1.5 hours time, there are some oily bases. Yeah? So there's amber, there is oak moss. Now the reason this thing was reformulated in 2014 was because of oak moss. The same reason Mitsuoko was reformulated. Yeah? So this was reformulated, so the oak moss is less prevalent, the leather, and I think there is olibanum as well. There is olibanum and labdanum. But how does it actually smell in the dry down? The dry down is just bang opposite to what you get here. What you get in the opening is zesty, orangey, sandalwood, and slight rose, kind of a floral scent. It's a citrusy floral scent. The dry down is so amazingly beautiful and refined. It's just woods, slight oily dustiness, and leather. I'm just amazed the transformation of the fragrance, and you get different vibes of the fragrance depending on the weather. If it's too hot outside and you wear this, which is very wearable in hot weather, you get the citrus pronounced in the dry down as well. Excuse me. If it's not that warm outside, if it's windy and it's muggy and it's cold, you get the leather pronounced. So this fragrance can be worn 365 days in a year. So let's talk about the prices, the value for money. If you look hard, the EDT can be had 100 ml for less than £30, yeah, which is tremendous value for money for such a complex fragrance. Yeah. The other thing is the performance, tremendous performance. This has got about 10 to 14 hour performance, sometimes even more. I go 3 sprays under my shirt, and sometimes I go 2 sprays on my collar as well, depending on the weather and depending on if I want people to smell me at work. I normally use this for formal occasions, although this is a fragrance which sometimes just tells me to wear it. This is my second bottle. The only difference between the previous bottle I had and this bottle after the reformulation is the carnation note in the heart. It's subdued in the reformulated version. This is also more contemporary. The citrus and the way the leather has been used makes it more contemporary. You know, sometimes without even thinking, I think I'm wearing an Acqua di Parma. Yeah. The dry down is an absolute beauty, thing of joy. In terms of projection, this thing is a monstrous projector. Okay, for 1.5 to 2 hours, people will smell you. I've been smelled by many people, and they've asked me, what is that fragrance that you're wearing? We can smell you loud and clear. People will smell you. Sillage is tremendous. Under the shirt, you'll smell this all work day. Yeah, 10 hours easy. So, strong sillage, strong projection, and strong performance with high value for money. Yeah, it's not an expensive fragrance, but it smells expensive, and it is very, very complicated. Yeah, it's a complex fragrance. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said complicated. I should have said complex. It's a complex fragrance, and depending on the weather outside and your skin chemistry, you'll get different versions of this fragrance, which makes the fragrance very interesting. Definitely a beautiful investment. Occasions. I think I've touched on that. It's a formal scent. You might want to try it in a t-shirt and a jacket, or just hanging out with your friends. If you love this fragrance, you can wear it anywhere. But this most suits 35 upwards age group, formal occasions, suited, tie, beautiful, all year round fragrance, no issues with that. And it's a Guerlain. Yeah, what else do I have to say? Guerlains are known for their quality. Absolutely brilliant. Can't emphasize it enough. This is a fragrance that you should test, definitely. Don't blind buy it, but do test it out, and I'm very sure you'll like it because it's such a likable fragrance. In terms of numbers, what marks do I give it? It's a masterpiece, yeah, and I will not give it anything less than 10 out of 10, because of the creation. It's complex, it's highly variable, it was created to serve a purpose, yeah, leather jacket of a hunter, yeah, so it is subscribing to some kind of a formal occasion, some kind of a standard. It meets that standard, and that standard it translates to in the modern days formal occasions. Terrific fragrance. 10 out of 10. Hope you enjoyed the review, and if you did, do give it a like and do subscribe. AC signing off. See you again. Namaste. Bye bye.